of creation in the way that I see fit and makes more sense to me day by day. So, to put this in alignment, we already know that we're light beings, and we know that we're electrically charged, and we know there's two energies going on. There's a push and a pull, and we know there's a magnetism, which is the greatest force and is the creator. But you're going to have to drum up some other powerful entities to be involved in creation itself. So, if you look at it like this, lightning. What's lightning? And why is lightning so goddamn powerful? And why do they say Zeus holds lightning? And Thor holds lightning? What's it all about? Well, see, the thing is, the lightning's already here. It's always been here. It just comes from counter space and then comes out into our reality and then disappears back into counter space. Wow! I mean, you can even use it with your own eyes. Just look at your own eyes and just watch the thunder as the lightning strikes. Where's it come from? It was already there. Do you think that when electricity runs through the wires, the electricity is not just formed in a certain area and is pushed through? Electricity was always there from the start. Do you think when you flick a light on, the light source only comes from that light? Do you not think that is created afterwards? Do you not think when you flick the light on, it just goes bang, like the cells? Like if I turn around and said to you, right, imagine chocolate, bang, in your head there's chocolate. It's a cellular system, it's a cell system, and everything's there. So when creation is happening, what's the first thing you are when you create? So your mum and dad got up to some, naughty business and created you in a moment of love. Well, I hope it was a moment of love. How powerful is that? And what's the first organ which is created? Our heart. But how's the heart created out of nothingness? So, if you imagine, right, the lightning comes in and out of counter space and disappears. When your heart is formed, imagine suddenly there was nothing, and then this electric energy was hovering about 4 foot from the ground. This electrical pulse was just, it was just electrifying. It was just working its own electric out. And what it was doing, it was forming the atoms around it and the elements around it to create a physical heart. Right, so there's no body, there's nothing at all. We take that away, and we've got the heart. And the heart's grown in front of your face, 4 feet off the ground. And there's no background, or you can have a background. But what I'm saying is, the heart is created in front of your eyes, with electrical running around it as it's pulling all the atoms and elements together. Well, then wouldn't that suggest that everything is already in the air? There's already cells here, and it's no different from what your body does. Okay, so now we've got the heart. The heart's growing. Whose heart? Who created the heart? Who digitally wired themselves into this system? So where did you come from? So you would then start to think to yourself, okay, well, this heart is formed and it's working the matter and creating a physical heart. And then you're thinking, so that sounds like to me a portal into this world. Do you see? So if you live with the spirits above, and you are an electrical being, Okay, so well, first of all, you're magnetism now, but now you want to have an experience of a physical nature of electricity. So you come here, and you already know how to create your heart, but you need to have a physical experience. So you create the heart in this environment, which creates physicalness. And to do that, you'd see this heart producing, and as you're producing the heart from where you're standing, you then jump. That's your portal in. And do you know how you know it's your portal in? Because it pulses. So you've gone from magnetism, yeah, and all source, and all CNI, spirit, and you've gone bang, straight into a pulse with a heart which pulses outwards, which is magnetism, but in a physical way, right? And then, okay, so you're just seeing the heart, right? You just see the heart doing this, and it's creating. So, you know, remember, you just come away from the womb. Come away from the womb. I'm just saying, I want you to see it physically, right? Because then you get it. And then your other organs start playing their tunes. Okay. So how are they playing their tune? Wow. Where you've got the heart of the earth and you've portaled your way in, you then have the planets. And what are the planets? These are the other avatars. These are the angels. These are the angles of light. These give you energy, and they're all yours. We've all got our own individual one because we can only see them out of our own eyes. So, you start getting a liver, and you start getting lungs, and then you start to get a brain. All these different things are connected. So it's like a big system, like a big computer system. So the heart being obviously the earth, an anagram, each one connects to each different planet. So each planet has a different role to how to portal instruments and tools for you to have a physical experience. And guess what? You can see the planets. And so it's reminding you what it's actually done for you. And then the portals that you go through to have the experience of all of them portals. So what's before the portal, you would say? What's before the planet portals? Because remember, we're building a picture here. Heart, lung, brain, kidneys. You know, just put them all together now. And then the form of the body starts to form. In God's image. Ready to be decoded and corrupted. But that's okay. Because I'll tell you why. But just 1 minute here. Now, what's outside of the solar system? Solo. You're on your own here. You're on your own. Because it's all about your journey here. So, what's before that? So, we've got an egg. Look at an egg. So, if I hold the egg, what I would assume is flat, and I just hold it upright, so it's pointing up, and the big round bit at the bottom is holding itself down, and I'm able to just hold it in that position without my hands. Where's the yolk? The yolk is in the center, and the yolk has every chemical in there to create life, and the yolk is in the center of the egg. Yellow, whatever one you want to call it, it has all the ingredients of life. Yeah. And it's up to me if I want to put it in an incubator, if I wanted to grow it, or I wanted to keep the chicken on it to grow it. But if you look at us as in an egg, okay, so that you have a shell on the outside, the same as your skin, yeah, and then on the inside you would have a soul, which is the blood, which is what you would say it creates life. So you have two things going on there. So what instantly happens then, the spirit goes inside of it. And the spirit is the electric to get it going. Why do you think they give you electric shock to wake back up again if you've died? Is to re-kick the electric pulse inside of you. So you have an egg. Now inside of that egg, you have these energies. You have 7 different energies going on. Bang! And each one has one specific job to do. And it sends energy to that. And then you get creation. So like, say for example, right? So you've got all these different round planets, and they're in the egg, and they're spinning around the yolk. And what it does, it pulls the yolk up and it creates form. Like a wind, like a swirling wind. And it starts to form everything. And form starts to be created and light starts to be produced, and then the yolk starts to move. Once you start getting that spin going, the vortex, start getting life. How would you not use the same analogy for us being there? At the start of creation, there was no disconnection. It was all form. That's why when you think of a baby's name, you have a form. Or you come up with an idea, you have a form. Yeah? It's all form. And at the start of creation, it was just all form. Because we wanted to experience different things. And the first thing we experienced was form. So if we wanted a tree to be big, I mean, we didn't have a physical body. We were more spirit. You know, we were just playing around with the concept to be able to have a physical experience. But for having an experience was have some expression. So, first of all, we just wanted a spiritual, electrified experience. So we would be able to think trees big, or we could just think strength. You know, I tell you what, we didn't have to pick anything up. After a while, you know, with just spirit, with no soul, but we've just got spirit, we won't want to learn more, because we are learning. So after that, we started to form a soul. And before that, it was physical. So like the Atlanteans started to have physical natures, and they were strong, but they were still able to use their mind very well. They were strong, and they had spirit. But perhaps they lacked the soul. Perhaps they lacked the love. Maybe we did it so many times, we felt like there was something missing, because it's just perfected. We are trying to perfect. So the Atlanteans, being so smart, clever, they were probably too much like God, the creator. Generator, operator, then they became the destroyer. They destroyed themselves. And when they had that fall, you have another race of people. Because one will always survive, because there will always be one here, because there's always a breeding ground of life here. So then, you get the next race of people. And then you start to see that these massive monuments and cathedrals that no one can explain, or they can explain to a certain degree. But the one I see fitting and true is that first of all, trees turned to rocks and they crystallized. some of the trees, where they've been cut, were turned into cathedrals. And in these cathedrals, you'd always have a massive organ in the middle. Right, okay. So do you think perhaps the race that was left before us created the soul in man? So perhaps the Tartarians, as a race, designed all these cathedrals for one purpose. They ring the bell like the heart at the top, and it's exactly where the tree used to live, because the energy would still be there, and they reproduce the same sort of energy that the trees used to once produce, because they put themselves on all these hilltops with all the water around. They bring the dielectricity in because they knew they needed female energy. We had too much God in us. We became gods. And that's why we produced other humans. They knew something needed to happen, so they created the soul for man. The real earth-bound soul, the connection, the umbilical cord to earth. For some were corrupt, and when they were corrupt, they were really corrupt. So then what happened was, Tartarians with their organs played a new note. A new beginning for man. And we walked out of the cathedrals. We were created in the cathedrals. We walked out of the cathedrals as man. With the soul. But to take all these forms on now, so we have to have a spirit inside of us, the lightning strike inside of us. We have to have the mother presented inside of us. And we have to take on the physical appearance. We're going to be smaller. Now we have to work together. You can't just sit there and think about something. You have to work as one, together. You can't pull away from that. Okay? Restricted. Massively restricted. So when we've walked out, this is creation, because the egg, what we've done, they've created an egg inside of an egg. But they've only done that because we needed the soul. We may have had the soul at the start, but at some point we lost the soul from mother. Rapes, pillages. But now, the Tartarians, with their cathedrals and their organs, put right smack bang where it needed to be, where the trees used to live, where used to bring all the energy down and then into the ground, where all the water system is. They placed them spot on. It makes sense, right? And now we're left doing our own thing. Your eye and your blood and your spirit knows it all. You've just been conditioned to a different way. So let's go back. You were created. You came through the portal. So that must mean you were somewhere else. Or you are somewhere else. They call this the oversoul. So when you go to sleep, you have your silver cord. You do your little death. That's why they say good morning. Every morning they say good morning, because you are mourning your death every morning, because you went back. When you are asleep here, you are awake up there. When you are awake up there, you're asleep here. When you're awake down here, you're asleep up there. You're just connecting every so often. Guardian angels, it's just you. It's you deprogramming yourself digitally. okay, and with sound. They're all light forms. When you die, where do you think you go? You go to an in-between place, and you see all the other souls that you know, because they're not just here. Even if they're alive here, they're still up there. It's our way out to remember until you vibrate and become one again. Listen, there's nothing to fear. There's absolutely nothing to fear. But it's okay to fear. That's fine. Because that's what we need to do. We need to fear it until you turn the light on. And as you get closer to who you were once before, it's going to get more and more painful. I tell you, look at the sun. Look at the moon. Look at the planets around you. They're all yours. Every single one, you see it from your own perspective. They are individually, uniquely for you. They are for you. Don't ignore them. Don't take them for granted. I mean, they got patience. They're just waiting. Because time is non-existent there. But that's your portal out and your portal here. So creation and the power of creation is that you came from counter space. Like an electric, your spirit, bang, straight here, into a body. And they harness that. We harness that. You've been given a body, a shell. Okay, the yoke. Look at the yoke, the center. You've been given a task to endure, to unlock yourself. You were all these ancients before. You're recycling. It's all fine. It's all fine. It's a system of love. It really is. And I know sometimes you don't feel it. But that's what you're here to do. Is find that journey of love. And to become an observer, just watch. Just watch your life. Watch your thoughts. Watch what you do. Look at the energy exchanges. Yeah? Electrifying. With a magnetic pulse inside of you. You can't even design it physically. I'll leave you with this, yeah? Frankenstein, he put them all together. He put every little bit in, didn't he? Cut the heart up, this, and lungs of this and that. Nothing worked until he got a spirit inside of it. How did he get the spirit inside? Lightning. Because lightning is us. It is us. So powerful. That's why Zeus is so powerful. Because it's creation. Love you guys. Love, live, and empire.